342, Saul commits suicide. The second book of Samuel, otherwise called the second book of the Kings. Chapter 1. It came to pass. Now it came to pass after the death of Saul, when David had returned from the slaughter of the Amalekites, and had abode 2 days in Ziklag. 2. It came to pass on the third day that, behold, a man came out of the camp from Saul, with his clothes torn and earth upon his head. And so it was that when he came to David, he fell to the earth and did obeisance. 3. And David said to him, Where do you come from? And he replied, Out of the camp of Israel I have escaped. 4. And David said to him, What is the news? Tell me. And he answered, The people fled from the battle, and many of them have also fallen, and Saul and Jonathan his son are also dead. 343. David's lament. 5. And David said to the young man, Tell me, how did Saul and Jonathan his son die? 6. And the young man said to him, I happened by chance to be on the Mount Gilboa, and behold, Saul was leaning upon his spear, and the chariots and horsemen overtook him. 7. And he looked behind him, and he saw me and called me, and I answered him, Here I am. 8. And he said to me, Who are you? And I answered him, I am an Amalekite. 9. Then he said to me, Stand over me and slay me, for anguish has seized me, because my life is still whole in me. 10. So I stood over him and slew him, because I knew that he could not live after he had fallen. And I took the crown that was upon his head and the bracelet that was on his arm, and I have brought them here to my Lord. And David took hold of him, and David took hold of his clothes and tore them, and and likewise all the men who were with him. 12. And they mourned and wept and fasted until evening for Saul and Jonathan his son, and for the people of the Lord, and for the house of Israel, because they had fallen by the sword. 13. And David said to the young man who told him, Where do you come from? He said, I am the son of a proselyte and Amalekite. 14. And David said to him, How was it that you were not afraid to stretch forth your hand to destroy the Lord's anointed? 15. David called one of the young men and said to him, Go near and fall upon him. He drew near and fell upon him, and he smote him so that he died. 16. And David said to him, Your blood be upon your own head, for your mouth has testified against you. For you have said, I have slain the Lord's anointed. 17. And David lamented with this song of mourning over Saul and Jonathan his son. 18. And he commanded them to teach the children of Judah to use the use of the bow. Behold, as it is written in the book of Asher. 19. Israel was swift like a gazelle, and is slain upon her proud hills. How the mighty have fallen. 20. Tell it not in Gath, publish it not in the streets of Ashkelon, lest the daughters of the Philistine rejoice, lest the daughters of the uncircumcised exult. 21. O you mountains of Gilboa, let there be no dew, neither let there be rain upon you, nor upon the choicest fields, for there the shield of the mighty was broken, the shield of Saul was anointed with oil. 22. From the blood of the slain, from the fat of the mighty, the bow of Jonathan turned not back, and the sword of Saul returned not empty. 23. Saul and Jonathan were lovely and pleasant in their lives, and in their death they were not divided. They were swifter than eagles, stronger than lions. 24. Daughters of Israel, weep over Saul, who clothed you in scarlet and dyed garments, who put ornaments of gold upon your apparel. 25. How the mighty have fallen in the midst of the battle. O Jonathan, upon the high places, and many slain. 26. I am distressed for you, my brother Jonathan. You were very dear to me. Your love to me was wonderful, passing the love of women. 27. How are the mighty fallen, and the weapons of war perished. Chapter 2. And it came to pass after this that David inquired of the Lord, saying, Shall I go up to one of the cities of Judah? And the Lord said to him, Go up. And David said, Whither shall I go up? And he said, To Hebron. 2. So David went up there, and his two wives also, Ahinoam the Jezreelitess, and Abigail, Nabal's wife, the Carmelite. David made king over Judah. And David and his men who were with him went up together, every man with his household, and they dwelt in Hebron. 4. And the men of Judah came, and they anointed David king over the house of Judah, and they told David, saying, It was the men of Jabesh Gilead who buried Saul. 25. And David sent messengers to the men of Jabesh Gilead, and said to them, Blessed be you of the Lord, that you have shown this kindness to your Lord, even to Saul, and have buried him. 6. And now may the Lord show kindness and truth to you, and I also will requite you with kindness, because you have done this thing. Seven. Therefore now let your hands be strengthened and be valiant, for your master Saul is dead, and the house of Judah have anointed me king over them. 8. But Abner the son of Ner, commander of Saul's army, took Ashbashur, the son of Saul, and brought him over to Mahanaim. 9. And made him king over Gilead, and over Geshur, and over Jezreel, and over Ephraim, and over Benjamin, and over all Israel. 10. Ashbashur Saul's son was 40 years old when he began to reign in Israel, and he reigned 2 years. But the house of Judah followed David. 2. And the time that David was king over Hebron, over the house of Judah, was 7 years and 6 months. 12. And Abner, the son of Ner, and the servants of Ashbashur, the son of Saul, went out from Mahanaim to Gibeon. 13. And Joab, son of Zoriah, and the men of David went out and met the young men together in Gibeon. And they sat down, these young men on one side and the other young men on the other. 14. And Abner said to Joab, let the young men now rise and play before us. And Joab said, let them arise. 15. Then there arose and went over by number 12 of the men of Benjamin, who belonged to Ashbashul, the son of Saul, and 12 of the men of David. 16. And every man caught his fellow by the head and thrust his sword into the other side, so they fell down together. Therefore they called that place Haklath Zadan, which is in Gibeon. 17. And there was a very fierce battle that day, and Abner was defeated, and the men of Israel before the servants of David. 18. And there were 3 sons of Zoriah there, Joab, Abishai, and Ashael. And Ashael was swift of foot as a desert gazelle. 19. And Ashael pursued Abner, and turned not to the right nor to the left from as he followed Abner. 20. Then Abner looked behind him and said, is that you, Asahel? And he said, it is I. And Abner said to him, turn aside to your right hand or to your left, and seize one of the young men, and take for yourself his armor. But Asahel would not turn aside from following him. 22. And Abner spoke again to Asahel to turn from following, saying, turn from following me, lest I smite you and throw you to the ground. How then could I lift up my face and look at Joab your brother? 23. But he refused to turn, therefore Abner smote him with the end of his spear upon his breast, and a spear came out at his back, and he fell down there and died in the same place. And all who came to the place where Asahel fell down and died stood still. 24. Then Joab and Abishai rose and pursued Abner, and the sun went down when they came to Lake Gibeath, which lies before Gath, by the way, on the wilderness of Gibeon. 25. And the Benjamites gathered themselves together behind Abner, and became one company, and stood on top of the hill. 3:45. David grows stronger. 26. Then Abner called to Joab and said, shall the sword devour forever? Do you not know that there will be bitterness in the end? How long will it be then before you bid the people return from following their brethren? 27. And Joab said, as the Lord lives, unless you had spoken, surely in the morning I would have let the people give up every one from pursuing his brother. 28. So Joab blew his trumpet, and all the people stood still and pursued Israel no more, neither did they fight anymore. And Abner and his men walked all that night in the desert, and crossed the Jordan, and went toward Geshur, and they came to Mahanaim. 30. And Joab returned from following Abner, and when he had gathered all the people together, and they were numbered, there were 12 wounded of David's men, and Asahel was dead. 31. But the men of David had slain of Benjamin and Abner 360 men. 32. And they took Asahel and buried him in the sepulchre of his father in Bethlehem, and Joab and his men marched all night, and the day dawned upon them at Hebron. Chapter 3. Now there was a long war between the house of Saul and the house of David, but Saul grew stronger and strong, but David grew stronger and stronger. 3:45. David grew stronger. But David grew stronger and stronger, and the house of Saul became weaker and impoverished. 2. And there were sons born to David in Hebron, and his firstborn was Ammon of Ahinoam the Jezreelitess. 3. And the second was Caleb of Abigail, the wife of Nabal the Carmelite. And the third, Absalom, the son of Maacah, the daughter of Talmai, king of Geshur. And the fourth, Adonijah, the son of Haggith. And the fifth, Shephatiah, the son of Abital. 7. And the sixth, Ithream, by David's wife Eglah. These were born to David in Hebron. 6. And it came to pass, while there was war between the house of Saul and the house of David, Abner made himself strong in the house of Saul. 7. And Saul had a concubine whose name was Rizpah, the daughter of Anna. And Ashbashul said to Abner, "Why are you going in unto my father's concubine?" 8. Then Abner was exceedingly displeased at the words of Ashbashul, and Abner said, "Am I the leader of vicious men of Judah? This day I show kindness to the house of Saul your father, to his brothers, and to his friends, and have not delivered you into the hand of David, and yet you charge me today with this iniquity concerning a woman?" 9. So do God to Abner and more also, if I do not perform what the Lord has spoken to David, even so will I do. 10. To transfer the kingdom from the house of Saul, to establish the throne of David over Israel and over Judah from Dan to Beersheba. 11. And Ashbashul could not reply to Abner because he feared him. 12. And Abner sent messengers to David, saying, "Whose is the land? Now make your covenant with me, and behold, my hand shall be with you to bring all Israel to you." 13. And David said, "Well, I'll make a covenant with you, but one thing I will require of you: you shall not see my face unless you first bring Malchel, Saul's daughter, with you." 14. Then David sent messengers to Abashul, Saul's son, saying, Deliver to me my wife Malchel, whom I espoused for 200 foreskins of the Philistines. 15. And Ashbashul went and took her from her husband Palti, the son of Laish, in Galim. 16. And her husband went along with her weeping as far as Beth Horim. Then Abner said to him, Return, and he returned. 17. And Abner had communication with the elders of Israel, saying, You have sought for David in times past to be king over you. 18. Now then do so, for the Lord has spoken of David, saying, By the hand of my servant David I will save my people Israel from the hand of the Philistines, out of the hand of all their enemies. 346. Abner is killed. 19. And Abner also spoke in the presence of the Benjamites, and Abner went also to speak in the presence of David in Hebron. And when it seemed good in the sight of all Israel, and in the sight of the whole house of Benjamin. 20. Then Abner came to David at Hebron, and 20 men were with him, and David made Abner and the men who were with him a great feast. 21. And Abner said to David, I will arise and go, and will gather all Israel to my lord the king, that they will make a covenant with you, and that you may reign over all that your soul desires. And David sent Abner away, and he went in peace. 22. And behold, the men of David and Joab came from a raid, and brought a great spoil with them. But Abner was not with David in Hebron, for he had sent him away, and he had gone in peace. 23. When Joab and all the people who were with him were come, they told Joab, saying, Abner the son of Ner came to the king, and he sent him away, and he is gone in peace. 24. Then Joab came to King David and said to him, What have you done? Behold, Abner came to you, and why have you sent him away? He is gone from you? 25. Do you not know that Abner, the son of Ner, came to deceive you, and to know you're going out and you're coming in, and to know all that you are doing? 26. And when Joab was come out from the presence of David, he sent messengers after Abner, and they brought him back from the well of Sirai, and David knew it not. 27. And when Abner was returned to Hebron, Joab took him aside in a secret place within the gate to speak to him quietly, and he smote him there in his abdomen, and he died for the blood of Ashael his brother. 28. And afterward, when David heard it, he said, I and my kingdom are guiltless before the Lord God forever, from the blood of Abner the son of Ner. 29. Let it rest on the head of Joab, blood of Joab, and on the head of all his father's house, and let them never fail to be in the house of Joab one who has a discharge, who is a leper, or is a beggar holding a bowl, or falls by the sword, or who lacks bread. 30. So Joab and Abishai his brother slew Abner because he had slain their brother Asahel at Gibeon in the battle. 31. And David said to Joab and to all the people who were with him, Rend your clothes and gird yourselves with sackcloth and mourn for Abner. And King David himself and all the people followed the bier. "32. And they buried Abner in Hebron, and the king lifted up his voice and wept at the grave of Abner, and all the people wept. 33. And the king lamented over Abner and said, Abner died like Nabal. 34. Your hands were not bound, nor were your feet put in fetters, as one falls before wicked men. So you have fallen. And all the people wept again over him. 35. And all the people tried to persuade David to eat food. While it was still David, David swore, saying, So do God to me, and more also, if I taste bread or anything else, till the sun goes down. 36. And all the people took notice of it, and it pleased them. Whatever the king did pleased all the people. 37. For all the people and all Israel understood that day that the king had no hand in the slaying of Abner the son of Ner. 38. And the king said to the people, Do you not know that there is a great prince fallen this day in Israel? 39. And I am this day troubled. And as king I see that the sons of Zuriah are too hard for me. The Lord shall reward the evildoer according to his wickedness.